Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's good.
Welcome to the podcast. So this is episode 1 of this podcast. My name's Shega, and I'm the host of this episode. My episode is about Islamophobia in the U.S., more specifically how 9/11 is still affecting the Muslim Americans today. And as my guests, I have Thea, Skylar, and Joelle. And to start off this topic, as I chose this topic as a Muslim myself, I've seen the Islamophobia here, and I've been here for only like 3 years, and it's been like a issue that's really stuck in my heart, and I really wanted to like talk about it and bring it up to like everyone so everyone can notice how much of an issue it really is and not just like sweep it under the rug. So 9/11, I'm not even gonna explain it. Everyone knows what day it was. It was really tragic. More than like 2,000 people died that day, and due to that, like that caused the whole country to go into like great like mourning, and that mourning basically turned into hatred and anger and backlash that was directly targeted, like that directly targeted the Muslim community. And it really made the event that was tragic even more so by attacking them at every site and everywhere they went to. So I'd like to get everyone's opinion on this topic and see where we combine.
Okay.
Whoever wants to speak, go ahead.
Yeah, so first thing I wanted to bring up about this is that I've read your paper about Islamophobia, and you did mention that you have, more that your family has experience with having a hard time going into the airport. This is the same thing my grandfather, he just doesn't take the plane anymore since 9/11. His name is, I'm not going to say his full name, but it's the equivalent of John Smith in Pakistani, which means that every single time they tried to see if he corresponded with anybody on the registry, which he didn't, but since he has such a common name, it would just take hours in TSA of just him standing there and them not letting him go, and it was just a very uncomfortable, especially as he got older and he has Parkinson's, so he can't travel. It's hard for him to travel in the first place. Traveling just became close to impossible, and he just doesn't travel anymore unless it's by car or by train.
I mean, I can say from personal experience, what's it called? We had this one tournament when we was in an academy in upstate Albany, but of course no one had a car, so we all took a plane, and we had to wait for a Muslim teammate 3 hours because he had to go through TSA and everything. Even though if it was a local flight, still, he went into questioning and everything, and all his parents included. So it's quite ridiculous, but again, it is what it is.
I'm a Muslim myself as well. However, from personal experience, I haven't experienced it myself. But, that's because I'm very fortunate to be born and raised here. And basically, I've adopted the way of living in the American life. And so people don't really recognize myself as, a Muslim or whatever. But having family that did come into this country through, to airports and coming from, back in our country, questioning is a big issue with us compared to any other person coming into this country. So much questioning going on, and, for example, my grandparents who came in a couple of years ago, they're still, going back to migration, going to different, classes and, questioning to be able to get the different rankings, a green card, citizenship or whatever. But I think it's so much more complicated for us Muslims compared to, any other ethnicity coming into this country. And I feel like that is a big issue, but I can't, head on any kind of experience that I've had myself. But that's because of my fortune. And
I feel really good that you haven't experienced anything. Honestly, it's genuinely a big issue over here, especially my grandma, she wears a hijab. I don't wear it myself, so whenever I go to the store with her, even today, we still get stares. I can't even leave her alone because I feel I'm scared someone might attack her just for her being Muslim. And last summer we were going to my country to visit, and like they stopped her for like hours, and then she couldn't get in on the plane. Like the plane left without her, and they like stopped to question her. She didn't know English, like, and I wasn't there to like translate for her since I left like one day earlier before her. And my aunt was like doesn't know English that well herself, so it was just a struggle. They didn't even have a translator there to like help and support her. And it's like, it's not even like, it's an issue that it doesn't like, it's not even for airports, it's like everywhere else, like even for jobs. Whenever they see you, even if you look the part of being a Muslim, even like you look a little bit of Arab or anything, and they just go like, what's your religion? That's like really such a bad question to ask. Like even it's not allowed for jobs or like, and yeah.
Would you say that what's it called, that Islamophobia, especially when it comes to like applying to jobs or something, would it affect, like, has it a bigger effect now probably?
I think it still does have an effect. Like it has a big effect on people. Like for me personally, it hasn't had an effect, but it has happened to like my aunt when she's went to interviews. The second they see like something about Muslim, or like I don't even know what type of questions they asked her, and she had like a lot of experience from other people that applied, and she never got the job or anything.
I like that you bring up the issue with, you know, being around your grandma that wears a hijab and, you know, being terrified. For me, both my sister and my mom do wear hijabs. All the women in my family wear hijabs, and but mostly I'm with those two. For my sister, it's either me or my father dropping her off for school, picking her up from school, because, you know, exactly, we're scared of like her transportation getting back home. It's very terrifying, even like wearing a hijab and being very young, and, you know, due to physical traits being very underwhelming. And also with my mother, we, you know, make sure that there's some kind of guy with them to guide them through, because it's scary, even though we haven't really experienced it, and which says a lot. But yeah.
What would you do to fix it, or if you had to?
Honestly, we can't really do anything to fix it. You can't really fix or talk to a person who's not open-minded. You need to be open-minded and like discuss, because they were not the only victims of 9/11. We were too. We were terrified too. I mean, I wasn't there, but like my family was terrified, and like a lot of other like Muslim Americans. And like, sit down, have a talk with a Muslim person, like tell them like, hey, like this, I want to question you about this, like, do you have any idea? You can't just go around, like this one case really hit me. This one child, I read it on a news article. This one child was walking, and then the car just stops in front of her and just goes like, you terrorist, get the hell out of my face, blah 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 blah. That's a 5-year-old child, 6-year-old child. How is she a terrorist? That's like, where's your logic to that? And honestly, you can't really do anything to stop it. Maybe if like the new generation, maybe we can do something, teach our kids, like
Not
help
to
them
stereotype,
understand. Yes.
Well, like on that sense, it's like I feel like in the grander scheme of things, like the Muslim religion was actually, I feel, more respected a lot in like the 80s, for example, like before the war in the Middle East and before America's involvement in the war in the Middle East. Like there was people like Muhammad Ali who was converting to Islam and things like that. It was almost seen as like a religion to like look into, something that's different from the Christianity, which was a little bit more difficult, that a lot of people had more trouble with from childhood trauma or family issues in their culture. So I think seeing how it was a respected religion and then all of a sudden got turned on its back as one that is not respected at all but even feared, I'd hope that people would start seeing past that, especially our generation who have not actually experienced 9/11, and kind of questioning why do we feel so much like resentment towards a religion that has never done anything wrong, and then one day actually look into what that religion means, that it is not actually a bad religion, that its texts are just as good as any other religious texts, that they're all about preaching wellness and respect and things like that.
I mean, you pretty much summed it up the topic, so.
So like the last thing I want to mention, like it's the people that make it worse, but also the government. Like immediately after 9/11, 20 policies, like out of the 20 policies, 15 were directly like directed towards like the Muslim community, and like that just made it worse. That just like gave the assumption that like it just opened the door, like, hey guys, they are the actual like terrorists of 9/11, go ahead and hit them, and like yeah. So like this is the end of my topic. I'd like to end it here so we continue with everything else.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a good topic. Thank you.